The Studio Surface command in the Surface tab, Surface Group, Mesh Surface dropdown is designed to create a sheet or solid body that is optimized for smoothness. Notice that you can quickly invoke the command by simply pressing the N key. Use the first two panes of the dialog to select Section and Guide Curves. Studio Surface is very versatile and you can select as many of either as needed, but guide curves aren't required as the asterisk would indicate. With this example, there are 4 curves. I'll begin by selecting one as a section curve. As with freeform features, you want to pay attention to the vectors that display as you select curves. I'll click Add New Set. You can also middle click. Then pick another section curve on the same relative side so the direction vector points the same way. The Studio Surface feature immediately previews without any guides. Next, I'll select the Select Curve selection step in the Guide Curves pane and pick a guide curve. With only a single guide curve, the preview updates. I'll middle click and pick a second guide curve and the feature updates again. I'll complete this feature then display another part which you may recognize from the Freeform Modeling course. Studio Surface should remind you of some freeform features such as swept, through curves, and through curve mesh, but while you can create similar surfaces with each, there are some differences. I'll start by creating a swept feature, selecting this sketch as to section, and selecting a single guide. With a single guide, there are options to define the orientation and scaling methods which provide you with a lot of control. Select a second guide and the orientation method is no longer needed. Select a third guide and the scaling method is no longer needed. I'll cancel this and invoke the Studio Surface command, which you can use to create a similar surface. However, after selecting the first guide, you'll notice there are no orientation and scaling methods. You can define constraints in the Continuity pane and the alignment in the Output Surface Options pane. I'll select the other 2 guides to preview a surface similar to that created using Swept. The important thing to understand is that Studio Surface really doesn't offer an advantage compared to Swept and is actually limiting if you don't have enough guides. There is a Shape Studio feature more similar to Swept which you'll learn about later in this unit.